Hey, good morning. This is Russ McClellan. Beautiful day. Another 90-something in Lake Chelan in August. Hey, I have this question I'm confused about. I definitely understand why people would not want to grow, like the town. I mean, if we could keep it status quo and everybody made money and everybody was doing fine, kind of a perfect world, like a perfect balance, that would be awesome. But it's a challenge. You know, there's so many regulations that are involved. For example, that's a supply constraint that often people don't realize. Like, at the end of the day, we have a very tiny amount of land to develop relative to the aggregate in the county or city, right? Secondly, it's so expensive to go through all the 5, 6, 7 governmental agencies and all the various people involved and various opinions, and where the codes don't actually mean the codes. They mean the codes until somebody sues somebody, and then the codes get changed or manipulated or massaged. And at the same time, the fundamentals are in place, right? Like the simple law of supply and demand. So at the same time, we don't want development, we don't want construction because of the traffic or the people or change in general. It kind of makes our community not what we want it to be. Ideology is a part of that, obviously. But then what happens? I mean, my God, our hotel rooms are $500 a night now. So let's just imagine a time where we don't do anything. And yet we forget that there's demand. And then in a free country, people can move around. And for the first time, maybe in history, at this level, people can work from home. Technology is is rampant, and AI allows people to do wild things, and it's going to get even more wild. So for the first time, you can make several $100,000 a year and live here, whether we like it or not. So, okay, well, let's imagine something. Let's not build another house. What do you think price is going to do then? If we're also concerned about affordable housing, I'm not talking affordable, like, minimum wage stuff. I'm talking about professionals that can't live here. Quote unquote, like essential workers, right? Cops, teachers, nurses, firemen, government employees, entrepreneurs, business owners. And if nobody can live here because the price is too high, and it's a free market economy, it's a capitalist economy. So we can deduct that if we don't build anything ever again, for a while anyway, prices are going to skyrocket, potentially. And if you can sell somewhere else and come over with a pocket full of equity in your wallet and work from home and make the same amount of money you used to work remotely, even if you have to go back, let's say in our case, to Seattle a couple of days a week, well, now you get an apartment over there, you buy a house over here, you're living the dream. And I don't begrudge anybody, just like I don't begrudge anybody from coming into our country, legally or illegally, although it sucks if it's illegal, but I don't begrudge the person, because we have a damn good thing, comparatively speaking. So it's a dilemma, right? It's like a little dichotomy. I understand why we don't want growth, because it changes our life, it adds traffic and problems, because the status quo is maybe bad enough. I would imagine if we could, we'd go back in time. I liked it in 1987. Personally, I had a good year in 1987. My dad he's dead now, as is my mom, but they got married in 1956. That was probably a hell of a good place for him. Maybe in 1958, after he got out of Korea. He got drafted to Korea in 56, right when he got married. So if he could, he probably would have. And I would. But here's the thing, we live in a great place. And a lot of people would like to live in great places. And now they can. More efficiently than ever before. So I just think sometimes when you're talking about the fringes of any debate or any logical process, there's a lot to consider. And to be one-dimensional is to marginalize oneself, because you have to be empathetic of other aspects of an economy, of the house prices, of the rent prices. And it's not one person's fault. Like, it's not the bastard developer or how about the bastard local that moved here 5 years ago that wants to, I call it the slice heaven mentality. I don't blame them either. The only thing I ever get upset about is when people, don't listen to any other side of the coin and they just take a position. I'm not really upset. That's kind of people, I guess. But I really don't like it when someone sells it like, the environment or the habitat and they really just don't want anything to happen. They're the anti-everything movement because they have their slice of heaven. So I get that. I just don't appreciate that. My dad didn't want growth at all. All his buddies and farmers, they just wanted less people so they could farm. I like that too. But we live in a complex world with complex problems, and the only way we're going to solve the problems is to really work together to talk about all these options, and the extremists are going to be marginalized because stopping everything doesn't work in America. Anyway, that's what I was thinking about. Have a great Sunday.